My guest today is Scott Vitale. How would you like to go to your doctors for your checkup and have them say to you, "You're going to die"? And then you reply, "Doc, everybody's going to die." And then have them say to you, "No, I mean soon." Scott weighed over 312 pounds, and he had to go on a journey to lose approximately half that body weight. He's doing great today, and in this episode, he tells how he did it and what that journey was like. While you're here, leave a comment, hit the thumbs up, and please, please, please make me happy, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Helps a lot. Thank you. Good morning. Wilkinson here. Today I'm with Scott Vitale. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. How you
Say
doing?
hi to my peeps.
Hey guys, how's it going? We're all good.
I think I did that once before. I don't want to get into a groove of doing that. So Scott and I are new friends on Facebook. We started chatting, and he has a little bit of a story, so we're going to see what it's about. So tell us a little about yourself. What's your story?
So Wilkinson and I, we got together on Facebook not too long ago. My story is mainly about my weight loss. During my 20s and 30s, I slowly gained weight and just became morbidly obese. And then in 2017, I went to my doctor for my annual checkup. And at that time, I was over 300 pounds, and I'm 5'6" tall. And so my doctor said to me, he says, Scott, if you don't do something, you're going to die. And I kind of, in a smart alecky way, said, well, doc, we're all going to die. And he says, no, you're going to die soon. At the time, I wasn't feeling great. It was painful to get out of bed. I was on a lot of medications for high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I had sleep apnea. I had a CPAP machine. All these things that just kind of tied me down. And so my doctor recommended that I go see a bariatric specialist, which I did. And so I went to this bariatric program. We lived just outside of Rehoboth Beach at the time in southern Delaware. So I went to see the surgeon and the nutritionist there. The surgeon was great, but I give a lot of credit to Kim, the nutritionist. She was great. 6 months before I had this bariatric surgery, she taught me how to eat. She listened to my lifestyle. My lifestyle at the time was my husband would come home. I've been working from home since 2015. I'd need to get out of the house at the end of the day. So we would just rock up to a bar somewhere and have dinner. And I'd have a beer, I'd have a starter, I'd have a main, and sometimes I'd have dessert and another beer. And so I was, just at dinner, I was consuming a day's worth of calories, essentially.
What was that, about 2,000 calories?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. No Big Macs?
No.
Okay.
Bar hamburger,
All
things
right.
like that.
Not the good stuff.
So, like I was saying, the nutritionist there, she listened to our lifestyle, and she was actually a little concerned about it, especially because we were going out probably 4 or 5 nights a week eating like this. And so she said, Scott, I'm not going to tell you you're never going to have pizza again. I'm not going to tell you you're never going to have hamburgers. I'm not going to tell you you're never going to eat ice cream. She said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to eat it properly and give you the tools how to do that. And I listened to her. I took her advice. We don't always see eye to eye on everything, but even just eating how she taught me how to eat, I lost 45 pounds before having surgery. And it wasn't
over what time period?
Over 6 months.
Okay.
And during that, even while I was losing that 45 pounds, I wasn't hungry. I was just eating differently. And we took all the carbs out of the house, the bread, the pasta, the rice, just the potato chips. We just got rid of it.
So you had no carbs?
At first, no. But then, I'd slip a carb in here and there, like a kitty scoop of ice cream, for example, or, vodka, cranberry, it's just little things like that. I essentially did cut out bread and cereal. So my go-to breakfast while I was heavy was a big bowl of cereal in the morning. And so instead I would have eggs and just protein, as much protein as I could.
So just eggs?
Right. No
Doesn't that
toast.
get boring after a while?
Yeah, sure it does.
I've tried that.
Sure it does, and so then I'd throw in a protein shake now and then, things like that. It did get a little boring, I admit, but I wanted to lose the weight. I felt that would be best for my situation, and so I did as best I could. And yep. And then in November 2017, I had bariatric surgery. I had what they call a bariatric sleeve. And essentially they cut away 2/3 of your stomach. So your stomach is really small. So I couldn't physically eat a lot of food. And again, that's where the nutrition counseling came in. She says, so you're not going to be able to eat a lot. So eat your protein first. And that's, I had to eat my protein first. I also had to take vitamin supplements. I still do take probably more vitamin supplements than the average person, just to make sure that all the levels are correct and everything.
What would be your typical lunch or dinner?
Then or now? After surgery? Or
well, do it both ways.
So, well, after surgery, my typical lunch or dinner would be just very small portions of protein, essentially cooked meat. I like steak. I like pork. I could squeeze in a vegetable. It was really difficult for me to eat any large amount of food, like anything bigger than what could fit in the palm of my hand. Just very small portions.
Did you have 3 meals a day, or did you beef it up?
I actually had more smaller meals. So, and I still do. I snack a lot. And so my go-to snack became cashews, and that satisfied the salty craving that I would have that potato chips in the past would satisfy, whereas now it's I'll get a little tiny ramekin and fill it up with some cashews and just snack on that. So 4 or 5 smaller meals, just when I'm feeling hungry, really.
So you lost a total of what?
So my high weight was 312. I went down to 155. So half my body weight. So, I lost over 155 pounds, and I've been steady now for the past couple of years at 165, and that's my ideal weight.
How has your life changed?
Well, it's changed quite immensely. My career, I had been in IT tech support, which suited me just fine, being a bit of an introvert, being somebody who doesn't like to be in the spotlight, somebody who doesn't like to give presentations. IT tech support was perfect. I could work with my clients. If I had to talk to my clients, it was usually on the phone, but most of the time I didn't have to talk to my clients. Or if I did go to a client's site, I was usually dealing with like-minded people, tech guys, in back rooms and in the closets and everything, just fixing everything. And then after surgery and after losing the weight, I think my self-confidence level grew. And of course, my appearance changed drastically, so much so that people who hadn't seen me sometimes wouldn't recognize me. And so the company I was working for offered me a client-facing job where I would do technical project management, which involved meeting with the clients. Often, I was traveling a lot, maybe three weeks out of 4 every month, and I'd have to run workshops. I'd have to do presentation. I'd have to run training sessions, and that all was client facing and me standing up in front of people talking. And so that changed. What also changed was my activity level. When it didn't hurt to move, I found I really enjoyed moving. So before we moved to Palm Springs, when we were still living in Delaware, I joined not really a gym. Now I think it's called a HIIT class, HIIT, where I would go and to a class, an instructor-led fitness class, and I was going at 6 o'clock Monday through Friday every day. And so for 45 minutes, I'd have an instructor tell
6 a.m. or
6 a.m. Yes.
Okay.
An instructor would be telling us, the class, what to do. So Mondays and Wednesdays were cardio days, Tuesdays was arms day, Thursday was leg day, Friday was kickboxing day. That, of course, ended when COVID started because the gyms closed. And what started, well, actually a little before COVID, is I took up bicycling, and that is now a big thing for me. I am a road cyclist. I did the AIDS life cycle ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles this past June. I'm signed up for next year, and that is pretty much my outlet, and so I enjoy it. When I started bicycling, I asked a friend of mine, former colleague, but we're still good friends. He's a cyclist, but he's a mountain biker. But I asked him, what can you tell me about bicycles? And his first response was, Scotty, I would never have expected this question from you. And so that's that's my passion now, really. And doing the AIDS life cycle, not only do I get to ride my bike and have that fun, it really is fun, but it's for a good cause. Like this past year, all the cyclists and roadies together raised over $17 million for benefiting the San Francisco.
In that one ride?
That one ride, yes.
Was 17 mil.
17 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, well, it hadn't happened the past 2 years, the ride, and everybody was, really gung ho to get. It seemed this was my first ride. My first ride was supposed to be in 2020, but this year was my first ride, and everybody was just on the ball.
Well, were there more riders this year?
Actually, no, I think there were less because there was a cap. There was also some concern from some people about COVID during the ride and in the camp. And so there were a lot of apparently new, like I said, this is my first year, but new safety protocols in place to try and stem the transmission of COVID. But I believe there were some cases or people who picked up COVID during the ride. Nobody became deathly ill.
How long is that ride?
It's 545 miles.
Whoa.
Over 7 days.
Oh, 7 days.
7 days, yeah.
And so they set camps up?
Yes. So it's and they describe it, and it really is a traveling city. So, Santa Cruz, King City, and then a few other cities, San Luis Obispo. I can't remember exactly where all the camps were, but it's essentially, anywhere from 50 to 110 miles a day.
How many riders were there? Do you know?
This year, I believe, if I remember correctly, there were 2,400 riders or 2,500 riders, and then a support crew of roadies who are all volunteers. They're volunteering their time to essentially feed us and transport our gear and make sure that we're safe. And, the ride couldn't happen without the roadies.
Right. Yeah, the logistics of that must be a nightmare.
Yeah. That's some project management.
Oh. What do you miss about being overweight when you were heavy?
What do I miss about when I was heavy?
Yeah. Do you miss anything?
I can't think of anything now.
What's the best thing now? Just the activity level or what?
My life is really different. That's my personal. The cycling is great. I've met some really wonderful people who I ride with. Not only have they become my friends, they become my mentors and coaches and things like that. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just really gives me joy.
What's been the process with your husband? Has he supported you or what?
So he has. He has been always there from the beginning of the journey. He went with me during that first meeting with the nutritionist, and we got home that night, and he started grabbing the pasta and the potato chips and all this stuff that I was not supposed to eat. And he said, I'm not going to eat it either. He supported me.
Did he lose weight in the process?
He did. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
How much did he lose?
I don't know, maybe 20 pounds. He wasn't really overweight, and he's still not really overweight. So it's yeah.
Were you heavy when you met him?
I was. I am not the same person he met. I am not the same person that was his husband for 20 years. Not only have I changed physically, I've changed mentally. My outlook is different, and sometimes that does put a strain on our relationship. I will admit that.
How so?
I think because I tend to be more outgoing.
Than you were?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to sit at home. I want to go out.
Is he an extrovert or an introvert?
Is he an extrovert?
Right.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so now we have two extroverts in the same house.
More or less. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert.
Well, you're way more social.
I am more social than I was. I admit that. And maybe that's, and that could put a strain on our relationship. I have this shirt it's a red polo shirt that I wear sometimes, and he calls it my look at me shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe we need to get him in here and talk about this.
Oh, dear.
How about your friends and family? How have they adjusted, or what's happened?
So yeah, my relationship with my family is interesting, I guess, in the sense that there's no problems with my family. They accept me as being gay. They have always supported me. And I sometimes feel that because I am the oldest grandchild of my generation, that they all kind of look after me, regardless of what generation they are, whether they are the older generation, my generation, or the next generation, the family itself. But having said that, we don't really get together a whole lot with my family, or our family, to the extended family, maybe once or twice a year.
Are they all back east?
They are. And Eric's family is up in the Bay Area. They were also very supportive. Most of my friends are very supportive. And actually, that's not fair. All of my friends are supportive. Sometimes I get a little kickback saying, you're losing too much weight. You need to stop losing weight. You're getting too thin. That's just, I think part of that can be based on personal preference. And sure, everybody has a body that they need to be comfortable in. And whether you're thin or not thin or overweight or big, maybe overweight's the wrong word, but whether you're big and if you're comfortable with that, that's great. I just was not comfortable with that for me.
But you apparently were comfortable until the doctor said you're going to die.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
That's a good point.
You had to be comfortable, or
I was
just struggling?
physically uncomfortable. Mentally, yeah, I was just like, yeah, okay, this is who I am.
Okay, so you did accept yourself that way.
Yeah.
I
didn't like it.
Okay.
If I look back at it now in hindsight, I don't think I liked being heavy, not just because of the physical aspect, but also because of the mental aspect. Had I not been heavy, I might not be here today. Who knows?
Why?
Well, my life could have taken different trajectories. I could have taken that job or this job that, I would have been more comfortable with, or who knows, maybe before I met my husband, maybe I would have been promiscuous in the 1980s. Maybe I would have come out sooner. And I tend to have a somewhat addictive personality. So who knows what might have happened.
So biking is your latest addiction?
That is.
How about the general gay community? How have they responded to you? Do you have are you involved a lot with people or not?
And it's interesting because the general gay community doesn't, like here in Palm Springs, because we moved here after I had lost the weight, they don't know me they don't know the heavy Scott. They only know the present Scott. And it's funny when I pull up my phone and show pictures of myself when I was heavy. They can't believe it, essentially. I don't look like the same person. So in general, I think the gay community, the people I know and socialize with, when they find out the story, they are amazed. And I've even had requests to tell my story to somebody else, here locally, and it's a supportive response. It's always been supportive.
But when we were talking earlier, you thought maybe you'd get some pushback from this.
Well, so some people, I guess there are certain communities. That's the wonderful thing about the gay world. There's something for everybody. And here in Palm Springs, that there's definitely something for everybody. And some communities like heavier men. And I get that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And so, it's being thin is not for everybody, or being, I don't consider myself thin, but yeah, it's not for everybody. I want people to understand that if you're comfortable in your body, then that's all that matters. As long as you're comfortable, that's what matters.
Right.
regardless of the shape or size of your body.
And you don't kill yourself.
Right.
Because it creates health problems.
If that's, if that's the life you want to choose, and again, my doctor said I would die young. So I chose to try to not let that happen.
Right. So how do you like Palm Springs compared to what, Delaware you said?
So, well, yeah, we love Palm Springs, and we've been coming to Palm Springs for quite a while. We bought our place here in 2018, and we moved here in October 2020 full time. Even though I'm from the East Coast, so when I was 10 years old, my family moved out to Cupertino, the Bay Area. My husband's from Santa Cruz, so we'd always planned on coming back to California. We just came back sooner, and we also picked Palm Springs because we wanted that little bit of distance between us and my in-laws.
Close enough to visit when you want to.
Right.
Right.
But they can't just drop in.
Right.
So yeah, and Palm Springs is great. We like the climate. We like the fact that, the snow's up there when it does snow, not down here. And if you really want to go to the snow, you can get in the car and go to the snow. Yeah, the heat during the summer doesn't really bother us. This summer, the humidity I hate the humidity, and this summer it was pretty bad. But that's life. Where is perfect?
It seems like anywhere you live, just about, there's something that's not good.
Yeah.
Whether it's, Seattle and it's gray and rainy most of the year, or the heat here, or the freezing cold somewhere else. So
yeah.
Although San Diego, they say, is pretty good, but I don't know.
I don't know. And it could be for some people. I do like warmer weather when it starts getting up into the 90s and 100s. I'm like, yeah, this is fine as long as it's dry. And when I was working East Coast hours, so 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'd be off work. So it's like, okay, I'm done, and go sit out by the pool, find a shady spot by the pool and just chill, and then then it's happy hour and dinner time.
So you said as long as you're happy, no matter what you look like. So if someone's listening to this and they're not happy, what would be your advice to them?
If they're overweight and not happy, I would suggest they seriously consider bariatric surgery, and not only bariatric surgery, but nutrition counseling. That I give counselor Kim a lot of credit for that, for seeing me through. The surgeon, he cut away, he cut away 2/3 of my stomach, but really my relationship with the team is with Kim. Talk to a doctor. I had what's called the bariatric sleeve. There are different surgeries one can have. One of the possible downsides is that your stomach does grow back. Mine has grown back. It's grown back to where I can now eat a normal size portion at a sitting, a normal sized meal, essentially. And by normal, I mean not a huge American,
right,
but a
so
normal.
You need a French meal.
Right, exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
So that would be my advice. Seek it out, but also not only the nutrition, but once you lose the weight, become active, because it really is the chemicals, the endorphins, and it's like, it is an addiction, but it's not a bad addiction. And so that'll help you as well.
Okay. Hopefully that'll help somebody.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, thanks for coming in, Scott. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Wilkinson. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.